testified against me. And then I plea bargained to 0 to 6. The judge gave me 4 with and Cordy told me to fucking come back in 120 days. And if I behaved myself, he reduced my sentence, and they cut it to community corrections. And that's the hardest thing I went through. Prison ain't hard. It's that community corrections. That's how they hang you. Because you can't do shit.
Make one mistake.
You can't be in a bar. Your life is 6 to 6. You know, basically you have to live under a strict life. And even then, like I said, I was.
And if your friend's a felon, he better walk right by you. He better not slap you 5.
You can't talk to him. You can't.
Yeah, you better not say, "Hey, man, I'm glad to see you." You better just walk right by you.
It's a hard life at that point. But you know what, man? I did it. I paid my debt to society. You know, I got divorced. I fucking lost everything. I started again. And the only thing that I could think of was comedy. And I just wanted to be a regular comedian. I wanted to hide. And I ended up in Los Angeles. And the next thing you know, I was like Richard Gere in Office and a Gentleman. I had nowhere else to go. Yeah. Mitzi Shore, God rest his soul, gave me spots. Then a dude, Joe Rogan, he came into my life, and he taught me how to be a professional, you know. And here we are, 27 motherfucking years later. Comedy saved my life.
Amazing.
You ever think about doing residencies in like Vegas or anything?
I just did Treasure Island Friday, and awesome. It was tremendous. I really liked them. I did the South Point before. They were very nice also. But it's time to, you know, move on up a little bit. I'm 56. I got 1 foot in the grave, 1 a banana peel. I got a lot of life left in me, dog. I got a lot of life left in me. So I still do my little every 2 weeks on the road. I got the podcast. I got the kids. I got to talk to you about something real quick. I taped my kid. You know, I'm Cuban, and Cubans are very proud of their boxers. So I taped my kid hitting the mitts, and I sent it to my uncle. He's 80. And my uncle came back. He goes, "You tell that fucking teacher of hers that we're distant cousins of Kid Chocolate."
Yeah.
Right? So I know that part of your fucking genius is that you watched a lot of tape. There ain't nobody that can tell you a story about a fight.
His name is Eligio Sardinas.
Sardinia, compadre. Sardinia, you know what Sardinia means in Spanish?
It's a Spanish name, but that's from Spain.
Yeah,
right?
no, Sardinia means, what are those things that you eat in prison? Sardines. Sardines.
Yeah.
So Sardinia, yeah. Kid Chocolate, Sardinia. When you're in New York, and I lived in Union City, is the second biggest Cuban population in the country. A big shout out to Lucio Fernandez. And before you got into a fight when you were Cuban, the first thing you told the motherfuckers, listen, before we box, I just want you to know, my cousin's Kid Chocolate.
Really? Are you serious?
No, but it's a fucking island. We're all cousins. I did the 23andMe. I'm 40% African. What the fuck?
But I'm just saying that the fact that he was that popular, Kid Chocolate, really.
He was that popular.
Yeah, I remember. I watched a lot of films about him. That's why I knew his name.
How good was he?
He was magnificent.
Did he really fight 25 times in 1 year?
I wouldn't doubt it. Listen, he had 100 amateur fights in Cuba, and he was undefeated with like 85 knockouts.
Is that true? They said they redid it. The historian went in, and he only had 50 knockouts.
Let me tell you something about Kid Chocolate.
Drop it on me. I'm fucking excited.
Let me tell you something about Kid Chocolate. Some things are not something. Kid Chocolate was very promiscuous. You know, and he fought he had a lot of disease, like venereal diseases and stuff. I believe that's how he got sick and stuff. He got sick from venereal diseases and stuff. These are the legends that I read and stuff. And I saw pictures of him. I believe it was what year was it? It was something happened at the I watched it on television. And I think after I'm gonna look on YouTube and see they showed pictures of him in Cuba like in the 80s, like in 80, 84, 88, something to that effect. And he was just old, broken down man, but he was a magnificent fighter. He was so inspirational for fighters like Archie Moore, Henry Armstrong, because when they saw him fight, he was he made more money than the heavyweights. He made like $100,000 a fight in one particular fight or something like that. And that's why he was so popular. Everybody just loved him. They made songs. Wasn't going to make songs about him. Count Basie did songs about Kid Chocolate and stuff. He was just a magnificent sensation when he came to America.
He moved to New York, and
he was awesome. He was from Panama, Al Brown, and all those guys. He was just magnificent. It's just that he had got sick.
Did you watch a lot of tape on him and
I
study
watched
him?
everything that he got. I watched him fight Fidel Barber. I watched him fight all those guys that he had to fight. He was a magnificent fighter, man. He fought Tony Canzoneri. He fought all these guys. He had probably 150 fights, pro fights. Great fighter, very sensational fighter, very popular fighter, one of the most popular fighters. And they had people name themselves after him too.
Right,
You know,
right.
such a Kid Chocolate, Big
Kid
Chocolate, this and that.
Sardinias.
Awesome fun.
A lot of
Because when he came to when Castro took over, he was a very wealthy guy, Kid Chocolate, but they took everything.
And he died in Cuba, correct?
Yeah, but
Castro took
he
everything?
was wealthy. Yeah, he had money. And Castro took all the property and all the cash out of the bank. You know, they were communists, so I guess that was basically.
They had to shut it down.
Yeah.
It's funny how many venereal diseases, when Columbus went to Cuba, he brought back, like he took something, then he went back, and what they brought back was sugar and syphilis.
Yeah, the rumors were that
Cuba
got
was
sick.
a big syphilis fucking
Yeah.
hotbed.
Interesting.
You know, I tested hot for syphilis a few times, no biggie. I moved on, fuck it.
Done all right.
Nah, I'm doing all right.
I ain't never
fuck
catch
it.
no fucking syphilis, you know. Everything I ain't never caught no shit
I caught
like
the
that.
crabs one time in
Yeah, I ain't
'85, but that was it.
Yeah.
Holy
Fuck.
shit, man. Well, the time you guys came up, I'm just glad you didn't get the HIV.
Oh man, thank God.
No, you know what? I can't see needles. God threw me a big blessing. I can't see needles, so I think I snorted heroin maybe 2 times, 3 times, and I liked it. So I'm not gonna lie to you, but I knew that it would be a problem. I had enough problems on my hands with the addictions I already had, so I left it alone. And till this day, I've been clean. 11 years from that white fucking devil.
Amazing.
And I don't know how I did it. I woke up one day and that was it. There was no rehab. There was no hugs. I looked at my girlfriend at the time, and I knew I didn't want her to find me on the floor. There's some people, like you and me, we're born to find motherfuckers on the floor.
Last week my friend on the floor.
So I'm
OD'd.
sorry to hear that. So
in
see,
Brooklyn, OD.
Sorry,
on the
Mike.
floor, on the floor.
there's some people who aren't cut out for that. It'll change their whole life. My wife is from Tennessee, good family. I didn't want her to find me on the floor. And one day I just stopped. And I keep the reefer because it keeps my mind back on the street and who the fuck I was. That's the last thing I do because it's my teddy bear, Mike. I started smoking chocolate tie in 1980 and, gold.
That was a good year,
Oh my God,
1980.
Bed-Stuy, chocolate tie up there.
Jordache
That
jeans,
shit would
baby.
fucking kill you.
Jordache
So I
jeans.
always kept marijuana. I don't like the word sober. It makes people edgy. People that live sober, they have to hide or something. I don't like the word sober.
Well, I got to tell you something
Go ahead.
that I just read in
ahead.
this book, How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. It's all about psychedelics and LSD and psilocybin. And he talks about in there how one of the main AA founder, Bill Wilson, he had they talk about in the 12 steps, they talk about having a spiritual awakening. Bill had his spiritual awakening
Did
in a
acid.
guided trip on this stuff called belladonna, which was like a hallucinogenic compound. And he was a huge believer in the idea that LSD could cure alcoholism. He was a big believer in psychedelics. It kind of blew my mind,
I knew that too.
because what it does, these things are different. They crush our ego. They show us all our trauma and our pain, and they help us forgive ourselves. Joey, do you still do any? I know you've posted like jars of fucking mushrooms on your Instagram,
You did
but do you
MDT?
still?
It's funny when we were talking about mescaline. We used to get mescaline
Remember that
hits.
back in the days?
And back in the day, and four-way
And
acid
Blada
and
and all
stuff.
that stuff?
My mom died. I started doing acid maybe a year before my mom passed. But when my mom passed, one of the reasons I'm still here is because I went on an acid fucking tear for like a year. I'm scared now that I might have something because for a year I did acid. I would go home at night, do a hit of acid, and listen to Black Sabbath. I would force myself. And then my mother died in '79, and in '80, The Wall came out. They do a song called Mother.
Oh, yeah.
And Ozzy Osbourne has a song on his album, Mother, Please Forgive Us. And I would force those on myself and face my reality that my mother was gone. I mean, it took me
Wow,
5 years. Grief is a fucking motherfucker.
Yeah.
It took me basically from 79 to 84 to basically realize when she was gone. Even though they put her in a hole, I was there. There were nights I would still drive by my old house just to see if they made a mistake. And she got caught at Yonkers Raceway in traffic and just, so the acid helped me deal with it. I hate myself for doing it, what I did, but one of the reasons why I'm still here is because I faced my fucking
Well, I think
pain.
it's yeah, man. I think it's very therapeutic. They're coming out with more and more studies about how these things are helping people deal with depression, dying, the most intense things that happen in life. And that's what kind of blew my mind, is that the 12 steps that he put together are really the steps of a psychedelic trip. You surrender to something. You realize that you are in the hands of God, and you make an encounter with God and oneness, and we are all connected. And then you experience some sort of inventory of seeing all the things that you did wrong, all of the trauma that you caused in your life. And then it moves to making an amends for all of that, and apologizing to those you need to and to yourself, and finding forgiveness for yourself.
My biggest therapeutic thing is I love smoking marijuana in the morning, getting stoned, and just letting my hand do the walking on a piece of paper. And I'll write out 2 or 3 pages, and then later on that night, I'll look at it and then write what I'm thinking at that point. I think for me, the writing has always helped me with the marijuana, especially like last night I got home from the Comedy Store, 11:30. You're wired up. You just did 2 motherfucking shows. You're yelling and screaming.
You're jacked.
Talking about Jesse Smollett and shit. Fucking it up for
that fucked it
motherfuckers.
up.
Holy
I don't even
fuck.
talk about that. He did.
Let's talk about
Fucking
it.
it up.
Oh,
But
man.
you know what, man? Listen, I had a Santeria godmother, and I went to see her in 1995 before I left New York. And she read my cards, and on the way out, she goes, do me a favor. Don't ever do business with 3 people. In 1985, the last thing she said to me is, it says right here, don't do business with 3 people. In 1987, what did I do? I set up a kidnapping with another guy and that. I remember when I turned myself in, I kept seeing images of my godmother saying, don't do business with 3 people. That's what Jesse Smollett
That's all she said?
He did business with 3 people. That's it. And 2 could always turn on you. And that's exactly what happened.
And only one gets to keep a secret is 2 of them are dead.
That's it. Only dead men tell tales. So it's really weird that you saw what went down. You can't believe it, but I don't blame it on Jesse Smollett. I blame it on the pressure that Hollywood puts on these kids, whether it's Hollywood makes us do some fucking dumb shit if you fall into that motherfucking
Listen,
hole.
no, okay.
You think just for like attention?
I don't
Or
know.
just
It's
to-
just crazy. You know what? The thing is, we want these people to love us. We want these people to give us jobs. We want to live our life happily ever after and be the head, sometimes be the head nigga on the team. I'm going to be the baddest nigga on the team. I'm the richest, the baddest, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And then we forget who we really are. We get lost in this fucking cloud of success, or what we believe is success, being different from what we were. I've been to that stuff, just hating who I were. I don't want to be that person no more. That person helped me become who I want to be. Why don't I want to be involved with that person no more in my life? I used to always be that way. I used to always want to close the door on my past, forget I was a thief. My parents and they were street workers and all that stuff. So all that stuff would make people, want to throw their old life away. But, you always have to believe who you are and have to accept who you are. You know what I mean? And be conscious. I always tell people my conscience supersedes my color. Because I know what time it is out here. I know people from my experience in life and meeting cuss.